I, 28 female, have 2 kids, a toddler and a pre-tween, and a husband, 30. We're doing our best to stay on top of things financially, but it's hard. We both work full-time, saving for the future, paying off debt, and ensuring our kids have everything they need. The last few years have been a struggle, but we're getting there. A few hours ago, my brother, mid-20s, called me, and he asked me to lend him $4,500 for his rent because he was behind on payments. He's been struggling financially for a while now because of poor spending habits, and he's in danger of being evicted. He said his life would fall apart if I didn't help. I told him I couldn't. We're not able to throw around that kind of money, especially since I have my own family to take care of. Plus, he's been asking for help like this for years, and I just don't think it's right to keep bailing him out. Later, my mom called me and laid into me. She said I was being selfish and that family comes first. She told me I could always rebuild my savings later and that I should help my brother because he was in a crisis. She even said, "Don't you want to show your kids what family is supposed to be? That's the kind of example you should be setting." She accused me of choosing my own family over him and said I needed to grow up and be there for your brother when he needs you. Now she doesn't speak to me but tells other relatives I'm heartless and unsupportive. They're calling me, telling me that she's calling around saying that. My husband is fully on my side, but I feel like the guilt from my mom and brother is tearing me apart. She's literally blocked my number. Not the idiot. You're taking care of your own family, which is your priority. You've helped your brother before, and it's unreasonable for him to keep asking for large sums of money when he's not trying to change his financial habits. Your mom's guilt trip is unfair, and you shouldn't feel pressurized into jeopardizing your family's well-being. Setting boundaries is important, and you made the right call by saying no. Exactly. OP's family, spouse and children, are her first family. Like, what the heck is this mother on? Why isn't mommy bailing out her irresponsible man baby? If your mom thinks family comes first, she should be helping him instead of guilting you. You've got your own family to take care of, and bailing him out repeatedly isn't going to help him learn. She has literally blocked my number. Perfect. Enjoy the quiet. Tell your relatives to give your brother the $4,500, then block them all. Or better yet, tell them you already gave him money and then tell him it's their turn to help him. I suggest the Do Not Disturb feature. You have no reason to feel guilty in keeping your family above water instead of saving Mr. Can't Handle Money and the mommy who babies him. If she calls again, tell her to fork over the $4,500 if she really feels so strongly about helping the family. Ask her what her grandkids will think of her if she lets her son go homeless. Also, never talk about finances, purchases, anything with them or any relative. The answer should always be, "I don't have the money," period. If they say take out a loan, tell them to do it. Stop any conversation about money. I also suggest locking down your credit. This is the type of situation where one of them might try to take out a loan in your name, then guilt you into not reporting it and taking the debt. Put a lock on your credit and your kid's social security number now. About 5 years ago, I moved for a job about 15 hours away from my hometown. Shortly after moving, I met my now wife, Becca. A few years ago, I had a buddy, JR, from back home come to stay with me. While here, he met my wife's sister, Maggie. JR and Maggie hit it off. They pretty quickly started dating. Maggie has a daughter from a previous relationship. The daughter's dad is very much in the picture. Almost a year ago, Maggie and JR moved in together. At the time, Maggie was living with her parents because she couldn't afford rent on her own. Things seemed to be going well. It's a long story, but almost 2 months ago, JR got pretty irrefutable proof that Maggie was cheating on him. He was angry, depressed, and overall distraught. He couldn't deal with confronting her and also not living with her. He talked to me and wanted my help to get away. So I reached out to my network of people, who are not mutual friends of Becca and me, to get him a place to stay. Becca, Maggie, Maggie's daughter, and my mother-in-law were going out of town to visit my mother-in-law's mom a few weeks after he found out. I had a work friend who rented a house. I helped JR pack his stuff, which was like 90% of the apartment, and he moved out. He sent an email to Maggie about why he moved out. He left a check for rent and utilities through the end of March when their lease was up and informed the landlord that he was not renewing. Maggie got the email and called JR numerous times while on the trip. My wife called me and asked what was happening and where JR was. I told her JR moved out and was safe, but I wouldn't tell her where he was. They got back and Maggie flipped out about all the stuff JR had taken. My wife was quite angry and demanded to know where JR was. I kept telling her he was safe, but I wasn't telling her where he was. The last month has been tense, and my wife has begged and made threats to find out where JR is. She's even tried using my phone to impersonate me to call JR and get information. I've since changed my passcode. She says, "We're married and this is affecting my family. I deserve to know." I refuse. She's even talked about this being divorceable. Am I the idiot? Edit, my wife knows why JR left. Maggie has admitted since he left that she was cheating. My wife denies knowing about the cheating, and I do believe her. Historically, Maggie and Becca are not close. Before JR moved here, we would see Maggie once every 3-ish months. Since JR moved, we've seen her much more because JR and I regularly organise get-togethers. This is why my wife's reaction surprised me. The stuff JR took was only his stuff. In fact, a lot of stuff he left is also his stuff. Besides gadgets, he left all the kitchen stuff, despite it being 100% his. He left all the stuff in my niece's room, even though he paid for a lot of it. Not the idiot. Maggie has made her bed and she can lay in it, at least until the eviction notice rolls around. The fact that your wife has a bigger problem with JR leaving Maggie than she does with her sister cheating on AR says an awful lot about your wife, and as a woman myself, it doesn't say anything good. If your wife chooses to implode your marriage because her sister is a cheater, that is on her. You don't owe Maggie anything. My money is on your wife knowing about the cheating the entire time. OP says that JR took 90% of what was in the apartment, and Maggie claims that it wasn't all his to take. I suspect she's claiming that she wants to find him to get her stuff back. I doubt that's the only reason she wants to find him, but based on what OP says in his post, that seems to be the reason she's using. Depending on what that stuff is, I could see her enlisting OP's wife to help find him, and again, depending on what that stuff is, I can see his wife agreeing to try to help get it back, whether or not she approved of or helped to hide her sister's cheating. They don't need to know where he's at to get things back. It could be as simple as saying, "Hey, he has this lamp or poster that's sentimental to me. Could you just please let him know that?" And have him drop it off or mail it and I'll pay you. But not involve OP any more than a maximum of that. Agreed. If Maggie claims that JR took her belongings, she can take legal action because that would be theft. But we all know that's not what happened. OP's wife is throwing down some red flags. Yikes. Not the idiot, obviously. Okay, so me, 28 female, and my fiancé, 30 male, have been together for 5 years. We were planning our wedding for this fall and have been talking for years about our future, like kids, finances, and buying a house together. We planned to save up, find something we both loved, and make it our home. This was talked about a lot. Well, turns out he already bought a house, but not with me, with his mom. And he didn't even tell me he was looking. Apparently she found the perfect place and convinced him to split it with her because she didn't want to rent anymore. So now, instead of us planning our future together, he's financially tied to his mother who will be living there full time. I just stared at him like, what the heck? And when I asked where I fit into all this, he goes, "Oh well, you can move in too, of course." Like I'm supposed to be thrilled to live in a house his mom picked out, partially owns, and is just there all the time. He also admitted he did it because I was taking too long to save and his mom offered him a faster way to own something. I was so shocked and angry. I told him I needed space, and the more I thought about it, the more I realized I can't marry someone who thinks this is normal. So I called off the wedding, and now his whole family is blowing up my phone saying I'm being dramatic and that it's just a house and that I'm overreacting because we can still live together. Even my own parents are saying cancelling the whole wedding is extreme. Like, am I losing my mind? Am I the idiot, or is this a giant red flag? His mom was calling me and saying I was selfish. She tried to say that she'd picked out a bed frame and wallpaper for the master bedroom that she knew I would like. That's when I legitimately lost it. Wait, on top of buying a house with his mom, he was letting her decorate what was supposed to be yours and his bedroom? Well, I could see her picking out the lingerie to conceive her grandchildren in. Not the idiot. He didn't tell you, he didn't include you, and he just expects you to live with his mom. You're an afterthought. Sounds like it, but in the mom's defense, she only did that in case the marriage didn't go through. Now she has the master bedroom just the way she likes it with her son. On top of everything else unhealthy and unholy about that mother-son dynamic, that house is now a premarital asset of which you will have no claim thanks to their underhandedness. Leaving is your only option. Agreed, this was deliberate. Not only did he not include her, but he actively hid it from her. Buying a house is a process. There's mortgage approval, viewing, inspections, offers, counter-offers, appraisal, escrow, final walkthrough, and closing. Even if some of these steps were skipped, there are still a lot of others to go through. There is no possible way he wasn't intentional about keeping it from her. Not only did he not talk to her about it, he most likely lied about where he was going or what he was doing to keep OP in the dark. Sorry about the 5 years, but you need to go find a man. My wife, our toddler son, and I were at my older brother's home yesterday for dinner. I used to visit them often before I was married, but even now we try to visit each other once a month and are generally on cordial terms. During dinner, my sister-in-law remarked my wife's bag that I'd bought for our anniversary. My wife seemed happy about that and everything was going well. My sister-in-law then compared it to my wallet, which is pretty old and worn, but I like it because my dad gave it to me 11 years ago when I left for college, and told my wife she should make me shop for myself too. I said I like my wallet. I've heard comments about it and just laughed it off. She said something that translates to, one person earns and another person spends. I felt uncomfortable about it, but my wife looked furious. I tried to change the topic, but my wife said she takes care of our son, maintains our house while I work, and decorates our house from scratch. All true, and I routinely thank her for it. My sister-in-law said it was a joke, but within a few minutes, my wife just said she wasn't feeling well and we went back. During the drive and when we came back home, she made it very clear that she wouldn't be in any contact with her until she got a clear apology. Today, my brother called and suggested we grab a bite to eat. I said sure. The way he said it, it seemed like it was just the two of us. My wife also had no issues with that. I thought my brother was going to discuss a way for us to meet or something so my sister-in-law and my wife could patch things up. My sister-in-law was there too when I went there. While we were eating, they gave me her point of view, saying that it was a light-hearted comment that my wife was blowing it out of proportion. I defended my wife too and said she definitely felt it was out of line. When I returned home and my wife learned she was there too, she got really upset. She said if my sister-in-law wasn't prepared to render an apology, then I should have left and that I betrayed her by having food with them. I don't see it that way. I was really trying to fix everything in good faith. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. She definitely feels it was out of line. Way to have her back. It was out of line and you should have clarified that you thought it was out of line too. You make it sound like it was her subjective perception. And even if sister-in-law genuinely didn't mean it to be offensive, man, when you make a joke that doesn't land and offend someone, the correct move is to apologize profusely, not double down and try to justify it to the partner. The joke falls flat because it's a thinly veiled dig. Your sister-in-law is petty and jealous. I guarantee your brother doesn't give her gifts like your wife got, hence the snarky comment. Instead of you sticking up for your wife, she stuck up for herself, without you backing her up. Then your sister-in-law took the cowardly way out by having your brother invite you to lunch. She showed up and tried to sweep it all under the rug, which it seems you gladly want to do. You, sister-in-law and brother have handled this all wrong, you especially. OP is a huge coward who'll be lucky to hold on to his wife for much longer at this rate. Dude, I know that you want to just brush it off because it's easier for you, but your sister-in-law was deliberately mean-spirited, implying your wife is a leech or a gold digger and trying to laugh it off as just a joke. Why are you so sensitive? This will impact your relationship with your brother going forward, but just pretending it didn't happen isn't an option. Hopefully, you made it clear to your sister-in-law that it's on her to fix this, not on your wife to forgive and forget, without even an apology. Update. I realized I didn't advocate for my wife to the extent I should have. I told my brother we couldn't have these family meetups until this was resolved. Yesterday, my sister-in-law sent me one of those funny, relatable memes. While it did get a laugh out of me, I told my sister-in-law that we, my wife and I, can't communicate with her until she apologizes to my wife. She asked me if my wife was still upset over it. I said yes, which was understandable because what she said was distasteful. I also said I was amazed at how unreasonable she was being, that apologizing won't make anyone think less of her, that I've already told her now how she can fix this, that the ball is in her court, and ended our chat. Today, my sister-in-law told me she'd apologized to my wife. I thanked her for it. When I got home, I asked my wife about it. She said she had apologized. I thought that was that, but my wife said she still wouldn't be meeting her anymore, her apology wasn't sincere, and the bell couldn't be unrung. I was frustrated because the apology for the stupid joke finally came through, and this issue was still unresolved. I asked what my wife wanted. She said she wouldn't be meeting them till she felt comfortable. But we met them before this happened, so the only issue was what happened that day, for which we've received an apology. But she was adamant that she was done with them. I will have to navigate this issue and what this means for my relationship with my brother and sister-in-law. Damn, how you managed to come off worse in an update is shocking. You still don't advocate for your wife and want her to get over it so you can continue to hang out with your sister-in-law and brother. Do you not like your wife? You said you should have advocated for her more, but now you want her to go back to hanging around someone who made a degrading remark about her. It wasn't a thoughtless remark. Your sister-in-law has probably thought that for a long time to be brave enough to say it to your wife. How clueless can one husband be? An apology just for apologizing to get over something is not a real apology. It's like a teenager rolling their eyes while they also say the words sorry with loads of attitude. Your sister-in-law is not, in fact, sorry at all. She just wants to put this behind you so she can return to normal, which for her is low-key disrespecting your wife while she sends you funny memes. So clueless. You're either deliberately clueless or a spineless little witch of a man who's more concerned with playing nice with your sister-in-law than your own wife and mother of your children. You seriously need to step it up as a husband if you don't want her to wake up and leave you. Damn, dude. Once again, you are the idiot.